Hey everybody, so we're going to do a really quick one tonight, and I actually owe this one to Daniel for telling me about this part, and I'm a very anti-cheap stuff off eBay person, but when I traded my exhaust with him, which I briefly talked about that in one of my previous videos, I was looking at his FRS and he showed me this rear diffuser he got, and he got it super cheap off eBay. So here it is. And this one cost like $46 shipped, and it came with some hardware right there. And I've already went on the back of the car and looked at it, and this is going to be a pretty easy one. This is another one of those videos where I'm going to have to tell you that yours isn't going to look like mine. I bought this car from I'm the fourth owner or something, third or fourth owner for it. And when I got it, the two brackets that hold the back fascia from flapping in the wind were gone. So the bumper was a joke. So I actually made two metal brackets that bolted onto the bumper and then bolted down to the bumper cover in the rear fascia. So where you're going to have these little pop clips, I believe you're going to have these on your car. I have two bolts, so I'm going to have to remove those bolts to put these in, but for you it's just going to be these little guys. So let me get some tools out, and we're going to go around the back and get this thing on. Hopefully it won't take us more than 5-10 minutes. So it's actually going to go up here. We've got a bolt that's going to go right here, and it actually clips in the back of the bumper here. And here's my bolt right here, and I'm going to remove this, but you've got the push clips. And then it's going to go into these little holes that actually, bear with me, be patient please, and it's going to actually go, goodness gracious, I'm really messed up here. So in all these little holes here, as you can see, the previous owners weren't as kind to it as me, but I made my bumper as tight as I could on here. That's what she said. But here's another one of my bolts that I'm gonna have to remove. But the rest of this looks like it's just the supplied hardware kit came with all these little push pins, and it's just gonna go in all these, all these little holes here. So let me get it back here, and we're gonna get it set up and see what it looks like. So this is the right side of the car. And I know my lighting is really bad, but there's like several inches of snow outside, and I'm not opening the garage to do this. So we're gonna try to do this as best we can here. I think the lighting is a lot better there for you guys. So I've removed my two bolts that were under here, and basically it lines up pretty good. Obviously from shipping it's got a bit of a bow to it over here on the end, but really doesn't need to be much of a video about this, just as long as you can see how it goes. So I'm actually going to put in my two bolts back in first, and these are the ones that have the biggest little push in for you guys. Let's see if I can find one here. These right here, the big one. And the hardware kit actually came with two more of them, so if you're like me and you have yours broken and don't have them, you do now. So if I can hold this cluster of everything together under here to get this started, and of course I can't because it's on camera, so we're gonna go over here to the other side and ignore me getting frustrated, and we're going to do this side over here, if I can make that fit. And I'm gonna get a longer bolt and fix that other one, and I'm gonna do it off camera so I can have a cuss at it and nobody can hear me. So we're gonna try to, if I can manage to hold everything. Oh my good lord. Well, I know why my dad always made me help him with stuff, so I learned how to cuss when I was working on stuff when I got older. In retrospect, I probably should have picked this car up off the ground just a little bit so I had a little bit more room to work. Because doing this with 3 fingers is a pain. And I am actually getting fairly annoyed. There. Okay. Minor success. So I'll get back to that other one later. So these other ones are, there's a bunch of push pins. I see, other than the 2 big ones, there's 4 here. And I don't know, because this thing doesn't come with instructions, obviously. So I don't know exactly which ones of these are supposed to go into the back of the bumper here. My apologies. You have no idea what I'm talking about. So these holes here, this is going to be one of my worst videos for quality. These holes here, there's little mates to the back of these holes that hold the diffuser up. So I don't actually know which of these other, the screw type little push pin is supposed to go here. So, well, that's where those go. Well, I did find this part out. It also came with these little black screws and of course no instructions. So I'm assuming that this little middle hole here, the little one, if you can see the finger that's moving, this one, this is such a bad video, actually screws into the plastic bumper to also help hold this. So I guess we're going to kind of wing it a little bit and use these screw-in push clips, which are 4 of. And we're going to put one in each of this section here, one over here, and then one on that side and this side. And I don't know exactly what in the world we're going to use to hold the sides up. Probably some more of these screws, and it came with these little bolts and these little brackets. So we're going to figure that out, and once I do figure it out, I'll bring you back hopefully with some better light. So I got really frustrated more than I should have with this. I got another light back here, and I jacked up the corner of this car and put the left rear up in the air, and of course on a jack stand. Safety first, don't want to die. So what I've done so far is I put the bolt in here, and that's my bracket, don't judge me, and my bolt here. So it's on and it's not moving now, so I can hold it where it needs to be so I can finish this. So here's the back side of it, obviously, and here's the holes that I was trying to show. And what I'm actually going to do is, these push pins clips are a little bit big, so they won't actually go all the way down. So we've got to drill a couple holes in the sides, which we're going to show here in a second anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these holes just a little bit bigger so the push clip can go in, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and that will hold the center part. Now there is another one right here, and I might find a bolt, an actual bolt, and just put in that. I know I've got extra hardware laying around just to hold that from moving. And 2 of the Phillips screws that came in, there was a hole in the diffuser but not the bumper, so it's, I think I've got another one here. I do. The screws look like this, and as you can see, they are good for tapping into plastic. So I put them here and here. So anyway, like I said, it's on here sturdy enough now where we can go about finishing this. I'm going to make these holes a little bit bigger and quite simply push the push pins in. There's 4 of those. Now here's the part where we're going to have to actually work a little bit. Should have had all these lights in the first place, so the editing is going to be crappy on here because I'm probably going to cut out some of that earlier part that you can't hardly see. So here's the ends, and there's this hook that actually hooks on the back of the rear fascia. Now there's a gap here, and we can probably see this better from this side. See this gap right here? And it's supposed to be there apparently, and I don't like it. However, here's how we are going to go about dealing with that. Bear with me here while I get the camera situated and a light that we can see. So it came with these little brackets, I guess we're going to call that, even though that's an excuse of a bracket. But what do you expect for $50? So the long end of it right here is actually going to set like this, and we're going to drill a small hole in the bumper, and it's going to go on there like that. Does that make sense? Good. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get on that, get that in there, and run some screws in here, and I got my drill sitting out. So let me get that done and we'll go from there. So here is that piece of bracket, whatever you want to call that in. It's really not that pretty. It's kind of ugly looking, but you can't really tell, I hope. The fitment, and I'll get underneath it in a second, is okay. It's what you would expect for a $50 piece of plastic. The more I look at it, the more I kind of think maybe I should have just bought something worthwhile from FT86 Speed Shop. To do this the correct way and get it all on there with everything that they had provided for hardware and then some, it took some more drilling than I had expected. So here's the bottom side of that bracket, which I had to take these two push pins out to move that out of the way because the screwdriver goes in from the top to get the top bolt in. And then of course the part here where it actually clips onto the back of the bumper to hold it. And then we're back to my bracket here, and one of the Phillips tapping screws goes in there. The push pins are too big for the hole in the bumper, so I actually drilled them out with a, it was I think a 11/32 drill bit. I think that's about what it was. And then of course the Phillips there. Bear with me as we move along the back of the car here. I got an extra 10mm bolt and put in there with a nut, and that'll hold that. Instead of using a clip or a screw or anything, I actually put another bolt there. And then it's the same on the reverse side here. And then my bolt. And then the bracket. And it almost felt like the plastic was a little bit warped, and as you can see the fitment's kind of shitty is what I'm going to say on this side. You can actually see it with the way it hangs under the car. Not exactly thrilled, if I'm honest, especially with the amount of work that I had to do to make the cheap thing fit. However, it is what it is. And what it is a $50 rear diffuser. And we'll see how it hangs over time, if it falls off and breaks or whatever. In time, I guess, I don't know. We'll just see. I do know that I would not buy another one. This right here bothers me. And that bothers me. And this bothers me. And my tire wear bothers me. But that's it. I guess I shouldn't bitch too much considering what it costs to put on, but I'm OCD and I have really high standard for this car especially, much less my other car, and I was kind of wanting more, but for the price I guess I shouldn't complain. So there it is, the $50 eBay rear diffuser.
Behind me you'll see a car.